birds. There are a bunch of juvenile magpies. That decided that our garden and the neighbor's garden is their turf now. And then there's a bunch of kajor, I don't know what those are in English, who sort of disagree. So, that's going on. I'm Maja, hi! You can find me as sjomajlin on Instagram and Ravelry. Yeah, and the spelling is here somewhere in this clip if you need help with that. Today is Sunday, June 26th. So I'm a little bit late in recording, and that's what happens sometimes. And I am coming to you from Jönköping, Sweden, as usual. How are you? Are you fine? Are you good? I hope so. I am officially in vacation mode. I did my last working day before summer on Thursday, and it's all good. Yeah. I'm trying to organize my thoughts. So, as I said, today is Sunday, and I will tell you a little bit about why I didn't record on my usual Friday in a bit. But I really do want to mention what I've been thinking about for a week that I must remember to mention, so I'm doing that up front. Last week I wanted to just mention the shootings in Orlando. Not that I really have anything to say about it, because there are no words. But I think we can't really afford to let things like that just pass by unnoticed. So I want to mention it. I had thought to do it last week, towards the end, and then if you were here for last week's episode, I got a little bit more silly than usual, which is fine, and I didn't want to bring it up in that context, so I decided just not to, and to do it today instead. And yeah, it's not like I really have anything to, you know, to say. It's just awful. I don't know. There is something most of you guys probably don't know about me, because I don't really talk about it in this context, because it's not important. I do identify as a B in the LGBTQ letter, you know what I mean. Not to say that you need to identify as any of those letters to be affected by this, or to have... Do you know what I'm trying to say? I obviously wasn't there. I don't know anyone who was. It doesn't affect me personally, but it's still bad enough. My heart goes out to excuse me, to the people and people around them who were personally affected, and it's awful. And within this context, I just want to mention so on Friday was our midsummer celebration here in Sweden. I did post pictures to Instagram of me and my brother with guns. Those were BB guns. I don't know what that sound just was. Anyway, I am not pro guns. I could probably have been a lot more clear about those being BB guns and being used in a very closed off environment. I could definitely have been. I just want to, again, within this context, make it be clear about, I would definitely say, though, yeah, it's not guns that kill people, people kill people, but to have guns readily on hand is not a good idea. And I'll just leave it at that. Yeah. So, just wanted to, as I said, mention it because I think we, unfortunately, I think that is something that we need to touch upon. Yeah. Okay. So, trying to pull ourselves out of that ditch since last week, or since last episode. It's been a little bit over a week, and as I said, I've entered vacation, which is lovely. I did post a picture to Instagram earlier this week about, well, what did I write? I wrote something about that I'm going through a phase where I can't seem to find my calm with my knitting. Yeah, I can't seem to find my calm place with my knitting. Which is so annoying. I mean, I'm sure this is, again, I'm sure this is just a phase. And I've been through it before, and I'm sure a lot of you have been. But it's still just so annoying. I've been, throughout this week, or over a week since last, I've been sort of just trying to find excuses not to knit. So I haven't done a lot of knitting because I don't want to force myself to knit. And none of the projects that I'm working on right now really has a deadline. It's not like I need to finish this before X. So I've not been doing so much knitting. On the Saturday, so not yesterday but the week before, I was at my parents' house sewing some, well, adventure clothes, dress-up clothes, adventure clothes for the nephews. So that was like an entire day with no knitting. And as I've mentioned, no, I don't even know what I was going to say. I'm just letting my mouth make noises. I have done some knitting though, and I'm gonna show you, but I don't have any finished objects. At least not knitting wise. I do have some sewing. I will show you that in a minute. However, I have been running. And if you follow me on Instagram, you cannot possibly have missed that, and I'm sorry for all the spamming, but with knitting, with my knitting mojo being incredibly low, running has been something to, I don't know, a point in which I've been able to find some inspiration, I guess. So that's good. Yesterday, okay, so today it's now 12. Shh. I don't know if you hear that. My neighbors are noisy. It's 12. I've slept in, I've had my breakfast, watched some YouTube, and now I'm recording. So I haven't really done anything yet today, which is fine. I'll probably go for a little run later today, but yesterday was my 7th running streak day. Not the nude kind, but I've been running every day for 7 days, and I've never done that before. I don't think, well, I might possibly have been running 2 days in a row before at some point, but absolutely not more than that. And now I've been running 7 days straight, and I will, as I said, I will probably do a shorter run today as well. So that has been taking up a lot of time, and that has been, I think that has been good for my soul, actually. So that's good. Yesterday, and I absolutely need to brag about this. Sorry, not sorry. Yesterday I ran 12k. I'm so freaking proud. I ran 12k, and I'm not going to sneeze. Whew. I ran 12k, not quickly or fast at all, but without stopping. And it was on my 7th day of running in a row. I'm so happy about that. So yeah, I will definitely not do a hard run today. I will probably do a shorter, slow, sweet little thing. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. Yeah. I am much calmer, more calm than I was last week, with, again, officially having entered vacation, but I'm tired. My brain is tired, which is all good. Okay, so on to crafting. As I said, I don't have anything finished knitting-wise, but I have something finished sewing-wise. I've finished 2 things, almost, other than I did post a picture to Instagram of a shirt and a pair of trousers of linen, like natural, unbleached linen, for one of the nephews that me and Mom did together, and then she has done some more sewing on that project as well, since the nephews are 2. There are 2 of them. But I've been doing some sewing at home. So I'm wearing one of the finished objects, so let me see if I can get into shot. This is well, I don't know exactly what a jersey fabric is. I just realized as I'm starting to say it's a jersey fabric, but it's a knit fabric anyway, so it's stretchy lengthwise with dots. And there are things all over. I'm getting ready to go to camp next week, so there are stuff. Half length sleeves. I believe you say outlinked the seams so that they are the wrong way around. I don't have a serger, so I did use the 3, what do you say in English? 3-step zigzag, maybe? And don't look too closely because it's not very neat, which I'm fine with. I used a black thread to make them look a little bit more intentional, I guess. Excuse me. It is almost, well, just above knee length. I am obviously not wearing trousers or leggings underneath today, and I think it's long enough to be able to do that. There are pockets along the sides, on both sides, and they're very deep, so you can fit a lot of stuff in there if you want to. What else did I mention? Did I want to mention? I don't know. I got this pattern off of Victory Patterns, the website. I've mentioned it before. I believe it's just victorypatterns.com. Let me pull up my computer right here just to check that. Victorypatterns.com, yeah. Do you hear that? So my neighbors are a bit older, and so I'm guessing there is a grandchild visiting, because there is a boy probably 11, 12, and grandma needed to tell him off for something. So victorypatterns.com, and on there you can shop for patterns. They don't have a ton of patterns, but they have a bunch of patterns. And then you download a PDF, and then you can print it and tape it together and cut your pieces out. So this was a pattern from there. I believe this pattern was Lola. I'm pretty sure. Let me just see. Yeah, so this is the Lola pattern, and the next project that I'm going to show you is from there as well, and it's the Hannah pattern that I've also made, and it's right here, so I'm just gonna get it. I'm not putting it on, but this is the same pattern as the one that I've shown you before, in sort of white creamy fabric. So it's like a shirt dress pretty much, and I've used contrasting fabric, or two different fabrics for this one. So you have these back pieces, and that also goes a little bit around to the front for the pockets. On the last one that I made, I just had one fabric, so this highlights the design a little bit more, and then you also use I used the other fabric for making the color, I guess. And I said I had two finished objects, kind of. I haven't sewn in on the buttons here. I've finished the buttonholes. I wasn't sure I had opened them, but there are buttonholes right there, so I need to add buttons, but I haven't done that yet, but I still consider this to be a finished object. So those are the things that I've finished. Yeah. This was a very, very quick project. That is a little bit that you can almost make it out right there. With the details on the collar, it is a bit more, it takes a little bit more time. I believe both these patterns are level or graded intermediate. That takes a little bit more time just with all the details. It's not hard or difficult, but you need to pay attention. My hair is falling out, as it does when it's newly washed. This, however, was super quick. Yeah. So, knitting. I've been working a little bit on the... I don't have anything new. I've been working just a little bit on the purple top-down summer top in a lace, heavy lace weight light fingering yarn. I've talked about these stuff a billion times, and I will probably talk about them a billion more times, so I'm not going into more depth than that. I've also been working a little bit on, I believe I didn't put a progress creeper on this. I believe I was sort of in the rib last time, so I've done some more. This is the Still Light Tunic by Vera Vellimäki. That I've joined in the round. It's also top down. It's a paid for pattern, so I'm not telling too much, but you make this opening in the back and then you join it in a round. And there are some short rows for making it taller in the back, and yeah, it's coming along. And excuse me, I am also working on the mitten, the Gudrun mitten. Oops. Had I, yeah, I had started this in a different yarn, or two different yarns, or well, it was one. And I mentioned it was too big. And I'm sure I had started this last week. I just needed to think about it. And I compared it, I showed you the other one to compare it to. And this is much better on gauge, so. It's a colorwork pattern. I have an old finished mitten laying around to compare gauge to, so I can show it to you. Sort of what it looks like. So it's the feminist symbol, I guess you would call it. So it's the large one on the back of the hand, and then there are a bunch of small ones on the inside of the hand, and then there is one with, so here is a raised fist, obviously, and then on the thumb there is one with, doesn't really show up. Instead of a fist, it's a heart inside on the thumb. So I'm probably halfway through the first mitten. As you can see, I divided for the thumb and just then worked a few rows up. Yeah. I was sitting with this for a while yesterday, and don't mention this out loud, but I sort of had some mojo going on there for a while, so fingers crossed. By the way, that is so much fun, because in English, fingers crossed is like for luck, right? In Sweden, I was gonna say in Swedish, in Sweden, fingers crossed, and specifically behind your back, but sometimes it's kind of hard to see if you do that, so you do it up front just to be clear that you're keeping your fingers crossed. It means you're allowed to lie. So if you, for some reason, want to tell an obvious lie, and you want to be clear that you are telling a lie, you would say, yeah, I totally did that. Yeah, absolutely. So fingers crossed is such a weird thing for us in Sweden, for some reason. We hold our thumb. We hold our thumbs for luck. Anyway, what else? I have thoughts jumbling around and I'm trying to keep them straight. I've done a little bit of spinning. Let's just see if I can pull this away from the wheel. No! There. I've actually done quite a lot in time, I feel like, but it doesn't show up very much, which is probably because I haven't been spinning a whole lot. But I do think that I'm spinning the finest that I've, well, probably spun to date, which obviously doesn't help with filling the bobbin quickly. So this is still the first bobbin. I have 400 grams of fiber to spin up into singles and then to ply. So one bobbin probably holds just over 100 grams if you sort of pack it. But yeah, it's not really flying by, but that's probably, not probably, that is definitely because I haven't really had the crafty mojo. Sneeze. Excuse me. And that's okay too. You don't always have to have the the same workflow, you know? I don't enjoy it. I want to be crafting because I love that, but right now I don't, so I'll just have to decide to be fine with that. Excuse me. Last week someone asked what these were. That's the reason why I have it the other way around on my counter. Not to have to see the paper from the labels still left on the cans. I popped some apple seed in some dirt, and you can see I did use toilet paper rolls as sort of the small first container, and then I just popped that into the larger one because I'm assuming that the roots will be able to eat through it. You know what I mean. Funnily enough though, there's three. We'll just have to see if I have energy enough to do anything about that, or if I'm just gonna keep these. Because I mean, I don't really expect them to grow up to be trees anyway. So that's what those are, and I don't have any fresh flowers around right now. I threw a bunch out yesterday when I was cleaning my apartment, and I haven't picked any new ones. There are orchids, 2 orchids blooming, is that the word? In the window right there, and these are also, oh, this has been burned by the sun, but these are also doing their thing, so that's good. I mentioned that, excuse me, this Friday was our Midsummer's Eve celebration, and I wanted to talk just a little bit more about that, because I didn't record on Friday, as you probably have noticed. I did mention a few weeks ago that our National Day is the 6th of June, and that is not really anything, I mean, that's not a big celebration in Sweden, and I am aware that not all of you, my viewers, are Americans, but I think that all of you can sort of relate to the 4th of July American Independence Day celebration thing. And that is absolutely not what we're doing in Sweden on our National Day. Very far from. However, on Midsummer's Eve, which is, I'm guessing it is the Friday after the summer solstice, because it's always on a Friday, and it's usually around sort of the well, it was the 24th this year, wasn't it? Because it was 2 days ago, and today is the 26th. Yes, the 24th of June, and that is sort of around when it is, and the summer solstice is the 21st or the 22nd. 21st. Yeah, so I'm guessing it's always the weekend after. That is the big celebration. I mean, that is so close in time, so I'm guessing people, yeah, I don't really know. And there are a bunch of weird traditions that we have, but that is definitely something that everyone is celebrating. There are barbecues, there are like specific food traditions, in different ways. You are supposed to make wreaths out of fresh flowers and wear on your head. Most people get really drunk. I don't do alcohol, like I would say, so people have like, you know, backyard garden barbecue parties where there's a lot of alcohol, and young people definitely do have parties of different ways and they get completely wasted. So it is sort of a, what do you say? It is definitely a weekend where you need to be extra careful when you're driving, because there is a lot of traffic. A lot of people are going away, you know, to celebrate with people from different, I don't know what word I'm trying to look for, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say. And you do not know that the people around you are necessarily 100% sober when they are driving. I mean, I would guess that that people aren't necessarily drunk driving more, but they might not have sobered up enough the next day to be driving before they actually drive. I don't know. But it is a big thing. So our family celebrated at our cabin, cottage, excuse me, which is where I recorded from earlier this year, which is about half an hour's drive from here. And we didn't do any alcohol. We did do the BB guns. That is a family tradition though, that is not like a national tradition. There is a big thing, however, that people usually do of like different, what do you say, like different contests. Maybe, I don't know, shooting darts, like a heptathlon, if you like, I guess, with different... so one tradition is that you have like a big burlap sack that you put your feet in, and then you're supposed to jump around something and then go back and switch over to the next one on your team, and they are supposed to jump. And it's probably more fun if people are drunk and can't stand on their 2 feet to begin with. There are always like contests and stuff going on, and it's sort of tradition that you go for a swim in a probably freezing cold lake. We did. We went to the nearby lake. It's about 4 kilometers away, so I decided to run. So my brother and his family was already in when I arrived. My parents, or our parents, did not go for a swim, which is fine. And I had on running clothes that I was able to words. The running clothes that I had on was okay with me, to my nephew's astonishment and pleasure. I didn't stop running, I just continued running out into the lake, and then I lay down in the water and I was soaking, and so one of the nephews was like, why aren't you wearing well, the Swedish word, I mean, it is bathing suit, but the Swedish word is more like bathing clothes, so why aren't you wearing bathing clothes? And I was like, I am wearing clothes and I am bathing, so, and he was like, yeah, okay. So we did go for the swim, or for a splash around anyway, and we wore the flower wreaths, and we ate a lot of food and strawberries, and it was quite a lovely day. So that was really nice. So I wasn't home until, well, I wasn't home exactly late, but I didn't feel like recording after I got home on Friday, and then yesterday it just didn't happen, and then I went for a long run, as I mentioned, and then a friend of mine who I haven't seen for a couple of months who has moved away, but his parents still live here in town, so he was home for the holiday. So he called and asked me to stop by, because he goes back today. So I did that yesterday evening, and so I just didn't record, and that's that. Yeah. Was there anything that I said I was going to talk about that I forgot? That usually happens. I don't necessarily think there was anything right now though. I don't know. Next week will not be... There will not be an episode next week. On Tuesday I am going to the coast, to Halmstad, which is, well, sort of south of Gothenburg, if you are at all familiar with the map of Sweden. So I'm going to the ocean for camp. A camp for, and again it never sticks, the word, mentally disabled people. I am not sure that is the best way to describe what group of people I'm talking about. However, I do not mean anything negative or discriminating or anything. You know what I mean, I'm sure. So, and I've talked about this camp before. This is like, I don't know, my 14th year or something being involved with this camp. I just can't seem to stay away. It is such an amazing camp. I am like the head of music, which is very intense. And I am going to be completely beat up afterwards. Beat up? No, beat. Just beat. So I'm going on Tuesday. The camp starts on Wednesday. That really looks like my brother, but it can't be. No. Camp ends on Sunday. Sorry. And I'm going home on Sunday, and I will be completely out of it for a few days. So, and I will definitely bring knitting, and I will most definitely be knitting during camp, but not a lot. So I will not really have a lot of crafting things to talk about, because I could record a bit later next, but I might do that if I feel inspired to do that, but probably not. So it'll probably be 2 weeks before next update, or before next episode. Yeah, just you know. And again, if you haven't already done so, down here somewhere, I don't know which side it is on, there is a button that says subscribe. If you do subscribe, I will appear in your feed when I upload. So you don't have to, excuse me, you don't have to actively keep looking for new episodes. They will appear. And you can also activate notifications so that it says on your phone. You can do that with my channel or any channel. Any and all. Is that the word? You can pick your favorite ones that you subscribe to and ask them, or ask YouTube to notify you on your phone when they upload, is what I'm trying to say. So that you don't even have to go online or go to YouTube to see if they're... Am I making any sense? I'm not sure. Yeah, so do that if you haven't, because that is a good way to make sure that you are keeping up, really, without having to do put in any extra effort. Okay, that's it. I'll see you in... No. I won't see you next week. I'll probably see you in 2 weeks. I am not making that promise though, because something might happen, and if it does, I will feel awful for having promised that I'll see you in 2 weeks. And I'm not I'm not making myself do that. I don't like to make promises that I don't know for certain I can keep, and I don't know for certain that I can keep that promise, so I'm not making that promise. I will most likely see you in 2 weeks, otherwise I'll see you later than that. And that's good enough. Words. Yeah. I hope you are all having a good time, that it's not too hot where you are, or at least that you are able to keep cool. Because most of you guys are in the northern hemisphere, and if you're not, then the other way. I mean, well, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Please do take care. Be kind to yourselves and to one another. So much stuff is going on outside my windows today. Knit if you want to. Drink tea if you want to. And I don't know, crochet, latte glass, cozies if you want to. I did a few years ago. I'll talk to you next time, which won't be next week. Bye.